don't know who's online. It's Friday night. Just out here being the kid, just swinging, everything. Oh, phone's at 20%. It's all good. You're looking at my backyard, my daughter's toys and everything. Trampoline. You got all type of stuff. So yeah. So anyways, just chilling. Beautiful summer day, and just wanting to, really just get on here, chat with you all, and talk about the commodity markets and things that I've been learning lately, and just kind of my perspective going forward on oil and commodities. I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been very, very busy. Um, so that's why you haven't seen a whole lot of videos this week. I have to schedule a interview with Doomberg coming up, so stay tuned for that. Comment any questions that you may want to ask Doomberg if you have any. Um, and then once we do set up the interview, then I'll be sure to ask him those questions. So let's go ahead and get into it. So oil and commodities, right? So the biggest thing that I've been learning lately is outside of like the general cycles of oil and commodities, and when more which that's considered part of the value sector, right? Value stocks versus like growth stocks. So the value sector, it's been behaving poorly for the last decade or whatnot. It's been mostly about the growth. It's been mostly about the tech, the Netflixes, the Teslas, all these different things. Hey, what's up, Ken? Hey, yeah, investing, yeah. Investing, shortages and problems the world is struggling with. This is investing, help solve problems with while building our own value. Yes, agreed, agreed. And I think that, us investing in these commodities also supports like not only just our finances, but the problem is that these commodities have been underinvested into for the past, like, I think it's about 2 decades or more. So, I mean, the last commodities bull market was really, around 2007. In that time, it looked a lot different than this time. I mean, obviously, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. But there's the commodities have been underinvested in for a long time, and so it's a good place to be, especially as the world is struggling with supply chains and shortages and everything. Um, so typically you have your value stocks. They've been going down for a while, and then everyone's been all on tech and all on um, the growth sector. And they're honestly probably going to get a rude awakening, at some point. Which, I mean, they have already been getting a rude awakening this year. This year, I mean, I've been seeing some people still talking about what's going on, JT. I've been seeing people still talking about growth stocks and growth, names and tech and everything. And I'm just like, this isn't the environment where tech is going to thrive. Tech really thrives in a loose liquidity environment. So when the Fed is buying bonds and everything, then tech will really thrive, and that's when I think Bitcoin is going to take off as well. However, I believe that the commodities bull market is going to last for probably till the end of the 2020s. I think that this whole decade is going to be a commodities bull market, and I say that because you go through these cycles of underinvestment in commodities, and then you go through cycles of where you overinvest, right? So if you think about it, usually in the commodities bull market, the S&P 500 has about, I think, what, 30%, something like that, of of that fund in commodities like oil, platinum, natural gas, all those things. They make up a bigger percentage of the S&P 500. Right now, those stocks only, like the commodity stocks, only make up about 3%. I think it's about 3 or 4% of the S&P 500. So that shows that there hasn't been a lot of investment in there. Same thing with these big hedge funds that come in with billions of dollars and tons of capital. They haven't invested in commodities. So commodities have been underinvested in for a long time. I mean, the average person does not have, oil stocks or, natural gas stocks or, steel stocks, gold, silver stocks, all those different commodities. So, and there's been a lot of speculation. I mean, obviously, in the past, however many months, I mean, oil really started going up in December, January, but there has, yep, uranium as well. I can't believe I forgot about that one. So yeah, so these stocks have been underinvested in. The average person doesn't have a lot of these stocks in there. I mean, especially if you're looking at 401ks and such, it's mostly focused on the growth names and the stocks that provide that thrive in a loose liquidity environment. And then on top of that, we know that recession is imminent or whatnot. And pretty much the growth sector is really going to get hit hard. I mean, a lot of these companies are laying people off. A lot of crypto companies are laying people off. These tech companies, I mean, Snapchat just really took a big, it just crashed like 36% like the other day. I mean, you had Twitter, their earnings crashed. They blamed it on Elon Musk and some other stuff. And like, people aren't buying ad space off those stocks. And so I believe that they're going to have a really hard time. Obviously, recession is going to hurt commodities too. It usually hurts everything. The best place to be is like cash and usually gold or whatnot. But so I think that we could see some weakness in commodities coming up. But for me, that's going to be a time for me to buy more, just because I believe that the bull market isn't over. It's been underinvested in for years. So when you're looking at commodities, usually you have big hedge funds that come in and invest in them. You have government policy that is pretty much favorable for more supply coming online. So we haven't seen that yet. We're seeing, oil companies and CEOs going at it with Biden and everything. So you're not seeing this environment where they are, collaborating. Where you're saying like, okay, policy is approving, these oil companies to get leases on federal land to drill to build another enrichment facility or whatnot. I mean, because even Rick Rule talked about the recent. I like that sun flare, y'all. That's pretty beautiful. The recent, the most recent oil enrichment center that was built was 35 years ago. So we're not seeing a lot of favorable policy towards commodities, and so this is just going to prolong, this cycle to play out. And we have to see more investment in the space. We have to see more governmental policy that's favorable of the space to bring that supply online. There was a recent article with who was it? I think it was Yahoo Finance or something, but it was the guy, I think it's Biden's energy secretary or something. He's saying that yeah, yeah, in the Pacific Northwest, yes. Where you located, Ken? I don't know where you at. Are you in the Pacific Northwest too? So that was Biden's recent advisor. I think he's the environmental or whatnot. He talked about the strategic petroleum reserve and how they're going to have to stop releasing 1 million barrels a day there coming in the fall. They have to stop that. They're like, yeah, it's not sustainable, and it's only meant to suppress the price for a little bit. So who knows what? Oh yeah, you in Sumner? Yeah, yeah, we got to connect sometime, man. I know where Sumner's at. So they're saying like the strategic petroleum reserve, you can't, they can't just keep releasing from it because otherwise they're not replenishing it. They're not Oil companies are not producing a lot of oil to be able to replenish the strategic petroleum reserve. There was talk about Biden wanting to buy it from somewhere else, and when we could just drill it here, and stuff. So it's just crazy. But yeah, so he's saying that's going to end in the fall. So what is that going to do for oil prices? I mean, it'll depend. It'll depend on, if we're in, recession, full recession by then, and everyone recognizes that, and they, sell off a lot of equities or whatnot. But I think, they are suppressing the price of oil by doing that. And once they stop it, the price of oil may go higher, a lot higher. And I'm not trying to predict like a 200, $200 a barrel or anything like that. I mean, one of the biggest things is that this is a new norm. Every time. So when you're looking at commodities, you also have to look at the debasement of the currency as well. So there's a reason why oil was 70 cents a gallon, back in the 80s, 90s, or whatnot. I remember seeing it like 90 cents a gallon in the 90s. So when that was the new norm. Before that, oil was like 10 cents a gallon. So as time progresses and the currency is debased, you're going to have a new floor of where the price of oil is going to be, the price of gas is going to be, right? So we see that after 9/11, prices went up, shot up to like $3 or something, then settled around, 2.5 to $3 or whatever. And then now we're seeing this new norm of like $4, $5, $6. So who knows where it's going to settle? But I know that it's going to be a new floor because you also have to factor in the money printing and the currency being debased. And until that investment starts, I'm going to be long on the commodities, um, meaning that I'm sitting in a lot of big dividend payers, and I'm going to continue to hold. I'm going to continue to hold uranium as well, and I expect to make quite a bit of money. And then I'm also going to buy weakness when it becomes cheaper. So right now, myself, I'm positioning myself mostly in commodity stocks, value stocks, and some cash. And so I'm keeping some cash on hand just so I can buy some weakness when it comes. And so, yeah, that's just what I wanted to share today. I think that the price is going to go higher. I think that it takes years for more supply to come online. You can't just go in and just flip a switch and like, oh, there's more supply, there's more oil. Like, no, you have to build infrastructure. You have to think about the transport of the oil, of the commodities, the natural gas, the coal, and all of that. You have to think about that, the transport of it. You have to think about the pipelines, all those things. So there's going to have to be some major investment, and it's going to take years to bring a whole lot of supply back online. There's even talk about OPEC being almost at capacity. And the crazy part is, I watched this interview with Rick Rule. He made a crazy, not a crazy, but that's just slang. But he made a really brilliant point. Um, and he said that we tend to forget that there's 8 billion people on Earth. We tend to forget there's 8 billion of us. So a lot of times when you're looking at the 70s, OPEC had a lot of capacity. They could supply a lot of oil. But how much has the population of the world grew since then? How much infrastructure has been implemented in other emerging countries, emerging markets and nations, so that use more oil? I mean, think of India. India is a huge country and they're using a lot of oil. Um, and right now, China, they've been going through a lot of lockdowns with COVID, and their capacity, I mean, their usage of commodities is still pretty much on hold. Like, we haven't seen a huge influx of China using a lot of their commodities. So once that comes online, it's gonna be very tight. So I mean, that's another nation with another country with billions of people. So um, I think that it's not over. I think that the Fed is going to have to let inflation win. Um, I mean, this is how it played out in the 40s. The 40s is going to look the same. I think the debt to GDP is very high, and they have to inflate the debt away. And so at some point, the rubber's going to meet the road, and they're going to have to pivot and just let inflation run hot. So that is that is my base case, and that is what I am sticking to until something otherwise tells me. Um, yep. So we are pumping at capacity, maybe not peak oil, but peak pumping ability. Same result today. No more can be delivered. Yes, yes, agreed. And that's the thing though. It's like the Fed is, they're trying to reduce demand, but demand is gonna come right back. Like people are using oil and gas for like essential needs, like heating their homes, like transportation to work or whatnot. I mean, they can't print that, and they're trying to destroy demand, and it's like, okay, well, maybe someone doesn't go on a road trip or something, but I mean, people are still going to have to use it for their day-to-day needs, and the space has been underinvested into. It's been demonized, especially by a lot of I think it's the ESG camp. They've demonized the oil companies and everything. So, um, at some point, it's just inevitable that the price is going to go higher, and that it's going to stay. It's gonna level out at a high price. Especially with inflation and the dollar losing value. So that's my base case. That's what I'm sticking with. Um, collect these dividends, be in early, and just enjoy the ride. I mean, it's going to be volatile, but if you see oil, I mean, if oil goes down to $70, a gallon, $70 a barrel, I'm going to buy more stocks. I'm going to buy more. So um, I'm buying weakness, and I have firm conviction on that just based off my research or whatnot. So appreciate y'all. I will be uploading videos soon. I'm currently editing some videos because I do videos as a side business as well. So I have a wedding that I shot um, that I'm finishing up, and then a music video. So yep, uranium. I'm in it. I'm in uranium. I'm positioning more. Silver, I haven't bought more yet. I feel like I bought. I feel like I was over leveraged, not over leveraged, but not leveraged. I don't have it on debt, but I had too much of it, and so I've been kind of slowing down on my precious metal purchases because I had way more precious metals, and I'm like, I need to be more balanced, so I need to throw more capital into like some of the stocks. But the gold equities, the gold and silver equities, are very cheap, and they pay a dividend. Obviously, it's paper, or whatnot, and so I have concerns with that. But at the same time, you could put it in your retirement portfolio or something like that. So it's pretty good. And then, I mean, this whole thing with J.P. Morgan is heating up too. When they got fined for spoofing, now they have the guys that were spoofing the markets, the gold and silver markets. They're on trial, and a lot of whistleblowing is going on. They're saying like their bosses were telling them to do it and all this stuff. So y'all should tune into that, check that out as well. So I appreciate you all for joining me today. I will be back on live again, maybe tomorrow or sometime this weekend. But I probably won't be back in my office to record until next week sometime. So um, thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. And then I'm gonna try to have Rick Rule back on. It'll probably be after the symposium later this month. I think that's next Friday, next weekend or something like that. So once that's over, I'll hit him up and probably like a week after that or something, and have him back on. I just didn't want to bother him when he's getting ready to do that because that sounds like a big event that they're doing. So I will have Doomberg on here soon and everything, and then I have to reschedule with Wendy O to have her on back on as well, talk crypto. So appreciate y'all. Y'all take it easy. All right, peace.